bill. Okay, so I was doing the math because I came here yesterday as a cheat sheet to find out the questions. But the thing is, Adachi's bill really shows the democratic process. Anyone can write legislation. And if San Franciscans believe in it, it can go to the ballot. I think he had a point maybe, but I don't think you should take off dependent care and 9 to 10%. That's too much. I was doing it, the math, and it was like $1,300. I mean, $1,300 or something crazy, like $13,000 out of the wage. But I think something needs to be done. The unions are very powerful in this city, and he didn't want to go through the red tape. But I don't agree with it, but I admire his courage to go after something like that. Because something needs to be done to reform our pension as well as our health care, unfortunately. Yes.
Thank you, Joe Grimm. Next responder is Isaac Bowers.
All right, thanks everyone. I've thoroughly reviewed the grand jury's pension tsunami document. I think this is an incredibly important issue. I agree that if pensions spike, if healthcare costs spike, if the city's contributions spike, as projected, we will be in a serious problem, budget-wise, even more serious than we already are. That said, I don't think that Jeff Adachi's Smart Pension Reform Initiative is the right way to go. It doesn't sufficiently address the differentials in pension benefits between especially the safety employees and regular city employees. It's not technically regressive, but I really don't think that city employees making $35,000 or $40,000 a year should pay 9%, the same as city employees making $100,000 and $150,000 a year. I fear that the copay for health care is going to drive people to be not able to afford health care, throw them back on the resources of the city, which will be economically inefficient and truly disastrous for those particular folks. And finally, I just think that complicated...
Tony Kelly.
My apologies.
Your opinion of Jeff Adachi's Smart Reform.
Great guy, stupid idea. Here's why. Isaac's right. There was a civil grand jury report about a month ago, pension tsunami, and then I correctly identified the pension problem in the city as largely 3/4 of it located within 3 unions: police, fire, and managers. Now, the police and fire pensions, that we raised those when we voted for Prop H in 2002. We agreed to that deal. We should live up to it, but so should they, because Prop H in 2002 had protection for the city. It said that if the police and fire pension increases started costing the city money, they're going to negotiate police and fire with the mayor, and they're going to make sure there's no cost to the city. Well, here we are. It's cost us $100 million, and the mayor, police, and fire have not sat down and done a thing about it. So they continue sticking us with the bill. That's something they can do with existing law, and we wouldn't have to go through any other measures. That fixes most of our pension problem, along with then we can fix spiking, and we can deal with the managers' union. I don't care about messing with those bastards. That's one union I don't support. So that's one way we can do it.
Thank you, Tony. Espinola.
That's my tone. You know, I would like for you to raise your hand if you have a credit card. What is the interest you pay every month? All right, 21 to 24% that you pay on your bill. You know, and when I was employed, I'm retired, but when I was employed, I had to pay into my pension plan. And, you know, I don't know why they want to get on Adachi, because I did also support Adachi and what he had to say. Now, maybe some of the things you, maybe some parts of it you don't like, but you should talk to Adachi. Don't shoot him down, because when I see all the hands go up, and you paying, if you got 5 credit cards, how much are you paying out? And you could be paying into your pension fund.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Espinola. Our next responder is Chris Jackson.
And I know this measure is popular, it's polling in the 60s, but as supervisor, I won't always do what's popular. I'm always going to do what's right for this district. And the thing about this is, Jeff Adachi never talked to a single worker. He never talked to a nurse. He never talked to a Department of Public Works worker. He never talked to the worker that made the $35,000. He never talked to a social worker. As supervisor, I will never support or promote an issue without talking to the neighbors and the folks that are affected first. And that's the first problem with this. This is an attack on healthcare and access to healthcare, because 80% of the cost savings by this measure is by the contribution that workers will have to make on their healthcare. They don't make a lot of cost savings from the pension. It's by contribution to the healthcare. And it's abysmal. And this shows that we've gone away from supporting working class individuals and middle class families when we attack and we limit their access to healthcare. So as supervisor, I would oppose this. I currently oppose this.
Thank you,
and this is the wrong way to get some things. Thank you.
Thanks again, Tommy. Look, fundamentally, we need pension reform. There's no doubt about that. Everybody will agree that the path that we're on with our pension plan leads to disaster in a couple years, as is predicted. So we do need change, absolutely. However, there is no one who likes change rammed down their throats without negotiation, without any input from workers, as has been said. I think Jeff's plan addresses an important issue. However, it's too divisive. He didn't invite everybody to the table to negotiate about it. And he didn't invite the lowest paid city worker who would be affected by this, who actually makes $49,500. There's no $35,000 employee who would be affected by Jeff's pension plan. Nonetheless, I think it's too divisive and it wasn't brought about the right way. So in order to get that change, I think we've got to bring people to the table.
And next is Brian Wesley. Your thoughts on Jeff Adachi's smart reform?
It's ridiculous. That's my first comment about it. He's got to go back to the table and come back with something else. I totally agree with Mr. Lacey that some change, some reform has to happen. But this isn't it. That's all. This isn't it. And one of the reasons I became chairperson of the Organizing for America was to conduct the health care reforms. This should be illegal. He needs to, well, I would recommend he speak with someone. How dare him say 50%? Out of whose pocket? This is ridiculous. We can't have, this is politics. And this is what we don't want, and we've had enough of this. Disregard for putting people first. The San Francisco General Hospital is overwhelmed. It's time to treat people better. It's time for some decency. It's time to do the right thing. And that's a conversation we need to have with Mr. Adachi. If he were to think in terms of doing the right thing, he would come up with something better.
Thank you, Diane. The final answer for this comes from Marlene Trang.
Jeff Adachi took a lot of risk in this pro-labor town for this reform. And, you know, he claimed that he would be able to save $170 million, especially after Proposition D was already passed. And I was reading about it, and I really had a lot of questions. But when I read what Matt Gonzalez said, that perhaps about half of the people who are workers didn't pay into the pension funds. So I really got alarmed about this and wonder if, you know, this is the right direction. So I'm still in the thinking stage, but I think that if this is true, that I will support it, because I feel that you know, everybody should be paid into the pension fund. And especially if he already collected, what, 44,000 signatures of support. So I think it's something for everybody to think about in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. A couple of housekeeping items I neglected to mention.